Thanks for staying with us. Now we have Davis Isaiah Ejele, who is joining us live from Abuja, convening Nigeria Integrity Movement. Once again, good evening and thank you so much for joining us on Firecrackers today. Okay, all right. So to the question I was asking earlier, which is on menace of discrepancies with certificates in Nigeria. Before we had issues with, we had the minister that resigned because he felt said he was being blackmailed because of the issues with the certificate, and now also coming up we have issues concerning the NYC certificate of Minister of Interior Olubumitu Jojo. What do you make of these scenarios that we are often having in Nigeria when it comes to certificate forgery or issues regarding certificate of elected political officers?
Left it to the less qualified among us. I call it kakistocrats. So the kakistocrats took over politics, while the elite took over the industrialization and whatever production and whatever have you. Now, and these kakistocrats have issues majority with certificate. I am number one. I'm not a kakistocrat, but some of the elite also, that is, they don't, the rich kids have issues with a certificate, because especially NYC, because they don't want to serve. They don't serve, and that is the problem. Initially, how many people go to NYC? We see it as a program that doesn't even add up or add any influence or add any benefit to our life. So we don't serve. Now, instead of you to provide what is required of the law, they are providing what is not even required by law to be in the office. The minimum qualification according to our rules and regulation of office holder is first living certificate, that is primary school and secondary school. Now, if you present your secondary school and you are performing, Nigerians are not looking for professors, education, not juggernaut. They are looking for those who can transform this nation. And because you see, professors have failed Nigeria. INEC have been governed and controlled by the so-called professors, the academic juggernaut. For over 2 decades, we are where we are today as a nation because the so-called professors couldn't give Nigerians the means to hold the elected official accountable at the ballot. So the issues of academic qualification to be a performer, as a yardstick for performance in governance, is ruled out in Nigeria. So what are we looking for? People who are yearning for a true change and for a true democracy. We don't have it. And then they present what is not. For goodness sake, Tunde Ojo is very sound. Olubumitu Ojo is a sound guy. He has stayed overseas. And, there are so many histories of his education before he traveled. Now, imagine how should Naji also have the same issue, but he resigned. Don't forget, Kemi resigned on the same issue, not because Kemi is not educated, but because she couldn't serve, and because there was no NYSC certificate, he didn't serve. It was brought up, and she resigned peacefully. Unaji resigned. Why is Olubimi still in the office? Why is he not resigning his position to give room for a proper investigation? What is good for the goose is good for the gander. So now we are trying to cover up what what A has done, and that we have sanctioned him or her. That is where, see, let me tell you, from my investigation, 80% of our office holders in Nigeria have issue of certificate forgery. Go and find out. You have issue of certificate forgery, and you see they are parading themselves as politicians, but there is skeleton in their certificate. So in this time around, I was brought into, what prompted me into this campaign was for the fact that what they call it, NANS, National Association of Nigeria Students, issued a press statement that Mr. President to shade Olubumi. I was like, what the hell? Are we in Banana Republic? That was my first, point of call. How can Association of Students who should stand for uprightness, wants anything that has to do with certificate. The reason why they are in school, they are now telling Mr. President to shield Olubumi. That is an eyesore. It's a fundamental to irresponsible display. In fact, the community of students should be ashamed of such people who gather themselves for interest to issue such a statement. So what I am saying is not just about his performance yet. We'll go into that if there is time. You know, when you talk about the issue of a passport, and I have done my finding, there are a lot of issues surrounding that passport. You see, I asked people who have applied for passport for the past 2-3 weeks if I've gotten it. You see, it's like removing the touting, street tout, and introduce corporate touting. That is what it is. Now, what do I mean by corporate touting? Are you aware now that there is an introduction of logistics for a delivery of passport? Who owns that company? Do we investigate that? Now, and another second problem, centralization of production. It doesn't work. Nigeria is a country of over 200 million people. How will you centralize production of passport to be only in Abuja? Then they will dispatch to every other state, to every other local government by a logistic company that we don't know who owns it. Nigerians are not complaining of going to collect their passport. What they are saying is produce it and make it available. So what stops you from creating more agency, private agent, who can go and take delivery of it and give it to you on your own accord? If you want to do it, you can apply through the website. During your application, you made it known. I want to be delivered for it to be delivered to so and so so. Or I want to come and pick it up. You should have a choice, not imposing it on Nigeria that it will be distributed nationwide. It doesn't work. That is the corporate touting I'm talking about. So we should now. Let me just shock you again. Millions of passports produced for the past 2 weeks are being destroyed. It cannot be used. Why? Because of decentralization of production.
All right, Mr. Davis, still talking about the issue of forgery, you did mention that he is a sound guy and he is someone that he is performing. Do you think that perhaps this whole NYC certificate thing might just be a distraction? Because like you said, this issue of getting the national passport, it being delivered and whatnot, do you think that these might be coming up to sort of distract Nigerians from, or even the ministry itself, from actually focusing on implementing these things that they've already put down for the betterment of all Nigerians? Do you think that perhaps this might just be a distraction?
According to the information available in the public domain, the inquiry from Premium Time, they told us that he enrolled into NYC in 2016 and absconded. Keep that 1 point, absconded. Now, there are rules in NYC for absconding. There are punishment to the offender. It is a jail term or a fine. So in 2006 that he absconded, what is the jail term and what is the fine given to Olubumi? We need to see it. We need to see the evidence. That is number one. Number two, they say he re-enrolled like secondary school and university again in 2019. Now, you can bear witness that you don't just enroll into NYC. It is your school that will recommend you for the program. It is like, oh, train our children in school, bring it to us to polish them or prepare them to the labor market. That is simple what I understand about NYC. Now, they say he resurfaced in 2019 and served between 2019 and 2020. And the same 2019 and 2020, he's already a member of House of Assembly and a member of House of Rep. The problem there. So is he simultaneously serving as an NYC member and at the same time representing us on the green carpet? That is an error. What happened to the law that guides those procedures? Number two, what credential did he submit to INEC prior to 2019 election that brought about his seat in the green carpet? That is number two. Number three. Number four, they say he served between 2019 to 2020, but in 20, he didn't get the certificate and now applied through the state in 2023 August. In 2022, August, and got the certificate February 2023. How? NYC, there are four cardinal points of NYC. One, orientation. Two, core program. Three, CDS. Four, passing out parade. And your certificate will be handed over or hand over to you at the passing out parade. It is not something you go and come back tomorrow or go and come back next year or apply for your certificate. You don't apply for it except you apply for exemption. We understand these procedures. So now, authentically, the certificate was issued by an NYSC office, from NYSC office. But what is the procedures? Is that the procedures of issuing an NYSC certificate? So it is not a distraction. That is why I said when you are talking about his performance, no doubt there are elements of media people like you, journalists, telling us that he's performing. But I have also started my investigation and found a lot of things that look here. It is more about removing street outing to corporate outing, and it's all about there is an improvement in the production and distribution of passports, no doubt. But there are other departments in immigration that are not yet been strengthened to safeguard lives and property. One of such is the department that has started with the responsibility for border patrols and to crack down on illegal aliens. Don't forget, the security situation we are having in Nigeria is as a direct result of illegal aliens that are coming through all our borders. And what are they doing about it? So immigration is not just about passport. There are other responsibilities that are not being, properly handled. And as a leader of such institution, we're going to hold you responsible to tell us why other departments are not being catered for. This is not all about passport, because I think passport is where the money comes from in immigration. let's say the truth. The production, the distribution now become a business. You see, we are quick to give credit to every single official because we have many of them that are doing nothing. So the little we see, we appreciate. Glory be to God, he has done very well in some part. But let's look at the fundamentals. When the fundamental is missing, the remaining still become a story. That is where we are.
Okay, all right, Mr. Davis. Now, if we are to look at it this way, 2006 to 2019 is a long time. If, let's say, like someone enrolled for NYC in 2006 and because of reasons beyond, well, anything could happen that could have delayed in completing his NYC then, which we don't know about, whatever stopped him from completing his service according to reports that we've seen online. If he's coming back in 2019, that is a long time. And then for NYSC, if you pass a particular age, you cannot continue with the program. You have to be given certificate of exemption. So at this time, should we not just wait for NYSC to clarify the reason why they deemed fit to still issue certificate to him, despite the fact that due to circumstances that we do not know about, he wasn't able to complete his tenure in 2006 and 2019? That is a very long time. A lot of time has gone. So do you think that perhaps we should just wait for NYC to come up with a clarifying statement on why they did what they did?
Find it. They have issued a public statement on that. Now, the issue is their answers raise more questions than the answers that Nigeria were asking. That is the problem. Their response became a question mark because they say he served now in 2019 and 2020. At the same time, a member of House of Rep. And the certificate again was not issued. So they have gone against their own rules. And I don't know if you are getting the point. Their own rules, there are 4 cardinal points which is orientation, which is after the letter from your school recommending you to NYC, orientation began, which is 3 weeks in camp. After the orientation, you are sent to your place. You are given a PPA. Now, it's even until you are accepted at your place of service, you are not yet a serving corps member. Now, if you are accepted, you start. Along the line, your CDS. Then from community development service and every other initiative is to equip you for the labor market. Now to your passing out parade. And that your certificate upon on the day of passing out will be handed over. Like I said, I was a victim of not doing NYC also. Now, but you see, every other people that go to NYC, they are presenting their certificate on the day of graduation, of passing out parade. Auntie? Now, if his passing out parade was in 2020, why they didn't issue him the certificate until 2022? He has to apply and then get it even the following year, after about 6 months in February 2023, to be able to have that certificate. That is the problem. So they cannot tell us. It's like seeing a pregnant woman and you are asking for evidence of the event that led to the pregnancy. It's not possible. That is not doable. You already know that there is an event, and whatever event is a separate place that took place in a private place. So it is like the question, the answer they gave. They have exposed the whole thing. Yes, we issued it, and this are the process we issued. But they didn't tell us that what we did was wrong. But me and you know it was wrong according to their rules. And we should be governed by the rule of law. If we are not governed by the rule of law, then we are in Banana Republic. They are sending their children to UK, US, because of what? Rule of law. A nation governed by rule of law. A nation governed by law and order. Not a lawless nation where you can wake up and anything is obtainable. We don't want it. Now, Auntie, look at the sensitive part of this problem. When President Muhammad Buhari was the president, we have came from the West with the same issue. Without even giving this lady a second chance, she was voted out of office, resigned. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from the West. Now, Naji from the East was alleged of the same problem without giving him a second chance, voted out of office. But somebody from the same West is sitting on the seat. You see, let's tell ourselves the truth in Nigeria. Which, if you want, and President Tinubu have been talking about integrity in governance. That I'm an old man, I want to leave a legacy. So what is the legacy? Being biased? Legacy of favoring one and leave another person?
Opinion that, especially the All Progressive Congress, they are of the opinion that this might just be a smear campaign against the persona of the Minister of Interior, and some have even tagged it as political witch hunting. How do you react to that?
Dino Melaye was accused of certificate forgery. What did he do? He took to social media without even coming to a person like you to interview to explain, and posted all his certificate, his departmental registration, and all of you, his NYC, khaki, and the rest from DC. He said, ABU should sue me if all I posted is not issued to me from them. That ends it. When Buhari was accused of the same thing, it is the same people who came out to start defending him. Even if he presents NEPA, we will vote him. Even if he presents water bill, we will vote him. That is not what Nigeria asks them. Just tell us whose school you graduated from. You see, defending indefensible is evil. What APC should have done is very simple. Publish all his school, his call-up letter, and everything, and put it on air. And let's go to the school. And let's leave us to fight ourselves. That's what Dino did. Dino left Nigerians and the people to fight themselves because they have given us a battle to go and fight ourselves. That he is a graduate and he graduated from ABU and these are his credentials. Go and verify. So instead of you to give us document to verify, you are telling us which odd. It's like somebody accusing me that my name is Heidi Jelly. Instead of me to bring all my data, call my family member, to say, what do you know me for? Am I not from a Jelly family? I would not rather become to say which thought that they said I'm not from the Jelly family. You see, it's a simple, they should stop, being evil to the Mr. President. That's what that is how I say it. Because this old man say, I want to live with a legacy. Why not allow him to do the property? Why not advise him? The special advisors, the Senate, why are they not doing the right thing to leave the man with a legacy? Nigerians are hungry and they are looking for solutions. And part of what will give them the solution is to, introduce what they will say, there's an integrity in this government. One of the things that propel most of us, the youth, into 2023 general election is the integrity purported to be going to be from the poll by INEC. And at the end of the day, Professor Mahmoud, I call them professors of doom, led Nigeria into all kinds of election in 2023. You see, that is why I say that, look, we are not looking for certificate we are not looking for PhD from Harvard. Because those who have from Harvard have disappointed Nigerians. They have conducted fraudulent election without.
Since you said that we are not looking for certificate from Harvard, we are not really particular on certificate. Since you have said that, so and if a lot of Nigerians are pleased with the work of the minister, then perhaps should it not? Well, like you said, they said that. One of the APC members said that it is dead on arrival, this issue of certificate allegations of there being issues with the certificate. If Nigerians are content with its performance, then should they not perhaps just let it be, as long as we are not really particular about certificate? Like you said professors of doom. So if you're not particular about the certificates, then should we not let him do the work if he has been doing fine and well by the grade of a lot of Nigerians?
The integrity. He has lost the integrity from in the first instance, inability to prove his case and justify his stand. I wish he come on air, grant an interview, and say, look, don't give us interview. Just post all your credentials on air for us. We'll go and give us the job. We are ready to take the job. We are not asking you to pay us to do the job. We are ready to take the job. So, and don't forget that we said Nigeria looking for those who perform doesn't mean you should present a forged certificate. I don't see there is difference between forgery. If he presented primary school and he's working like this, Jesus, people like us will be the ones. Go on, go on, go on. Because of what? Credibility, integrity, uprightness. We are looking for credibility and uprightness and integrity. And one is already missing. Fix it first. Fix it. If you say Nigeria is performing, and I have just told you in the areas of passport, my finding. So you should ask along the line too.
Our next topic now. So that will be tomorrow, October 20, will be the 5th anniversary of EndSARS protests that took place all around Nigeria. That was on October 20, 2020, and tomorrow is going to be the 5 years anniversary of these particular protests. Well, as you know, of the things that led to the EndSARS protests, they protested bad governance, they protested police brutality, and the protest has evolved over time to address the problems that a lot of Nigerians are facing. Now, if we are to look at some other nations around the world, we had Madagascar also having issues, we have Peru to protesting bad governance. So as Nigeria celebrates the 5th anniversary of the EndSARS protest, as they will be celebrating it tomorrow, what are your thoughts? What do you have to say about the anniversary?
Election, or what happened to our brothers And I will say that may their souls, those of the departed, that they rest in peace. They died for our country. They died for people like us to have a breathing space to speak. You know, it was after that that the government became conscious of a generation that are rising in Nigeria. So some of them that took the bullet, I said, God bless you and may your soul rest in peace. Now, having said that, it is unfortunate that the country is still not living up to the expectation of the youth who came out and those who took the bullet. I'm sure they are still turning in the grave today, saying that what they died for has not been implemented or have not been achieved. And that is where I kept saying, until we go back to the fundamentals, NSAC's protest was one of the fundamental that, propel, that is putting Nigeria on check. But even the government officials, they are aware something like this took place in 2020. May that day again never come. But they are also not performing. Why? INEC. You see, the fundamental problem of this country, number one, INEC, judiciary. Auntie, if we face these two problems, NSAS is achieved already. Do you know why? The government officials are amassing money for 2027 that is yet to come. Let me give you an example of Kogi State. Yesterday, you see Yaya Bello Tai Gile with all his conventional followers hosting an endorsement party for 2027 in 2025. Even Tinubu himself has not started the campaign openly. INEC have not released the timetable for campaign, but iService have started. And they were on live national television on so many stations for hours, burning millions and billions of cogaite. Because they know they can only sustain it by iService and by government of the day, not by credibility of their performance, not by the integrity of their performance. So the INEC, thank God for a new INEC chairman, although I pray that professors should never be again our INEC chairman, because professors have failed us for decades. I was campaigning and they stand rooting for Babalawo, Amadioha worshipper, Ogun worshipper, Sango worshippers, carpenter, driver, downfall driver, even Okada riders. Association should give us one. Let's gather the artisans and train them on how to tally number, not like professors of doom who cannot add 2 plus 2 equal to 4 and tell us 10 plus 10 1 million, and they announce a result. But we have another professor again who is telling Nigerians that I'll keep to integrity. Let's watch and see. So I about the answers. And another thing again, I have a lot of things to say when it comes to the police aspect. There are a lot of issues that have to do with police before now, including the corporate, embezzlement within the top officials, which I exposed some weeks ago, mentioning names. You can go and find it out. But now there are digitalization process that is ongoing to foster some of these innuendos and excess of our officers. I pray that it is done to the end. I pray that we wake up. Don't forget also, there is no perfect police all around the world. But Nigeria became Essex. That was our problem. We have Floyd May killed in America by police, open on camera. We have situation of police brutality even in UK, in the Western world. But you see it as maybe 1 or 2%, or let's say 2%. But Nigeria become almost 70% of brutality, rather than protecting the people. But today we have a very good means that people are you aware that recently IG Ogbeteku dismissed over 30 police officers already from my investigation? Because I champion police integrity movement also that have to do with the police. And some of my finding was that he removed some officers for misconduct. harassment assault to the citizen. Now, in our cultures of going for it, when you are caught up, that will be something he has now introduced the pension and families. They have to go with ordinary manual searching, but now they have vision to right. One of the agitation, what people don't even understand of the rate is not the payment of the pension any longer. And is paying. The current act over to have been released and paid to the for pension. And the so-called pension tax of because of corruption. So a lot of ministry that is where it is, and that is not in the jurisdiction or the anybody, right? The president and the National Assembly pushing to pull out of pension. But in terms of payment, now, other Menace good serving officers, they have started what we call monthly appraisal. Some officers being promoted as a result of their good conduct. So there is, I mean, if you look at answers, it has actually brought more. We can never regretted the activities of answers. Never. And one of the foundation that have put Nigeria politicians on the edge, but we only regret that some of our citizens lost their life in the process, demanding death, and they are not to die for in such manner.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Davis. Well, sadly, it seems the network is not very friendly with us anymore. We have so much to talk about, but time too is not our friend, and it never is whenever we're having interesting conversations. We thank you so much for joining us today on Firecrackers. We truly appreciate your contribution and your insight on some of the things that are happening in Nigeria. We thank you so much. And that is David Isaiah Ijele, who joined us live from Abuja. He is a convener, Nigeria Integrity Movement. Sadly, this is where we'll be drawing the curtains on today's episode of Firecrackers.